Today, we're diving into one of the most dramatic and pivotal events in early Islamic history, the Battle of Uhud. Now, this is a story of incredible courage, a truly brilliant strategy, but also a single, devastating mistake that turned what looked like a sure victory into a desperate fight for survival.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. You have a smaller, really determined army that has somehow managed to push back a much larger force. Victory is right there, within your grasp. The enemy is literally fleeing in panic. But then, just like that, everything flips. The tables turn completely, and the hunters, well, they become the hunted.
So, how does that even happen? How does a near-certain victory crumble into a desperate fight for your life? What was that one single error that changed not just the course of the battle, but really the course of history? That's the question we're going to unpack right now.
So those Muslim warriors who were just moments away from celebrating suddenly found themselves trapped. They were being attacked from the front and from the back. You can imagine the panic that spread as they were caught in this deadly pincer movement. To understand how this all unfolded, we've got to rewind and look at what started it all.
This story really kicks off in the aftermath of a different battle entirely, the Battle of Badr. The Quraysh tribe from Mecca had suffered a really humiliating defeat there, and they lost a lot of their key leaders. So now, led by a man named Abu Sufyan, they were burning with a desire for just one thing: revenge.
And listen, this wasn't just talk. They poured the profits from a massive trade caravan into funding an absolute war machine. For the Quraysh, this was all about restoring their honor, avenging their dead, and showing everyone that they were still the dominant power. The stakes really could not have been higher.
And just look at the numbers here. The Quraysh marched on the city of Medina with 3,000 soldiers. The Muslim army, trying to defend their home, had only 1,000. So right from the get-go, they were outnumbered 3-1. But believe it or not, the situation was about to get even worse. While they were on the march to the battlefield, 300 men from the Muslim army just turned back. They completely abandoned their posts.
Yeah, this act of betrayal just slashed their numbers down to a mere 700 men. So now they're facing an army more than 4 times their size. This is so important because it wasn't just a military challenge anymore. It was a test of faith, a test of unity. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the first battle you have to fight isn't against the enemy in front of you, but against the cracks forming within your own ranks.
So, facing these just overwhelming odds, the Prophet Muhammad came up with a brilliant strategic plan. The whole idea was to neutralize the Quraysh's advantage in numbers, and it all hinged on discipline and a very specific group of soldiers. Okay, let's break this down. First, he anchored his army's rear against Mount Uhud. Smart move. That way, they couldn't get flanked from behind. Second, he spotted a key vulnerability, a little hill nearby, and he placed 50 of his best archers right there to guard that flank. And third, and this is the crucial part, he gave them an order that was meant to be absolutely positively unbreakable. And that's the command right there. He basically told them, I don't care what happens. I don't care if we're winning. I don't care if we're losing. Even if you see birds literally eating our bodies, you do not leave this post. The intensity of that command just shows you how critical their position was. You know, in any military strategy, old or new, the rule is the same. The unit holding the high ground has to hold. Their discipline is the anchor for the entire army. So the stage was set. You have a small, disciplined army with a brilliant defensive plan going up against a massive force that's out for blood. And now we get to the moment where it all went wrong.
At first, the plan worked perfectly. The 700 Muslims fought with such ferocity, such courage, that they completely shattered the lines of the 3,000-strong Quraysh army. The enemy literally turned and ran, dropping everything, their weapons, their supplies. It looked like another miracle victory was about to happen.
And this timeline just shows you the chain reaction perfectly. The Quraysh retreat, and the archers up on that hill, they see all the spoils of war scattered across the battlefield. Believing the fight was over, most of them ignored their commander's plea and rushed down the hill to grab the loot. And that single decision broke the unbreakable command and created a fatal opening.
And guess who was waiting for an opening just like that? A brilliant military tactician for the Quraysh, Khalid ibn Walid. He had his cavalry just waiting, watching that hill. The second he saw the archers move, he swung his horsemen around that now undefended flank and just slammed into the back of the Muslim army.
The result was immediate. It was catastrophic. That near victory turned into a desperate fight for survival, and the price of that one mistake was just incredibly high.
The Muslim army was completely ambushed, thrown into total chaos, now fighting a battle on two fronts. They suffered terrible losses, including the Prophet's own beloved uncle, Hamza. The Prophet himself was seriously injured in the fighting. A clear victory had been snatched away and turned into a very costly, very painful lesson.
But here's something absolutely remarkable. Despite the devastating fallout, the historical records never name the roughly 40 men who left their post. No one ever pointed fingers, no one ever publicly assigned blame. And this is seen as its own powerful lesson in character, to conceal the faults of your brother and sister rather than exposing them for all to see.
Now, the theological perspective frames this whole event in a different light. According to a Quranic verse that came after the battle, this hardship was actually allowed by God for a reason. It was a test, a trial that was specifically designed to separate those with true, unshakable faith from those whose commitment would crumble under pressure.
And this really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. On the surface, the Battle of Uhud looks like a military defeat. But for the early Muslims, it became one of their most profound lessons, a lesson in obedience, in discipline, and in understanding that razor-thin line between victory and disaster. It really makes you ask, what is the true difference between a defeat and a lesson? Because maybe, just maybe, the most valuable victories aren't the ones won on the battlefield, but the ones learned from it.